there's no question that the introduction of income management, and we know that it was in the Northern Territory that this began, is a new frontier in social security policy. There's no question about that. And the way that it effectively operates, as we know, is that if you fit into a certain category of person as being unemployed or currently without paid work, if you're a young person or you receive a sole parent pension for a certain particular period of time, then you will have your income support quarantined, at least half of it, and sometimes up to 100%. This means that you are required to negotiate with Centrelink about how that money will be spent. So you are not only answerable to Centrelink for your efforts to find paid work, but also about how you are spending that income support in the meantime. And a really important feature of income management is it is a blanket approach at the heart of it. In other words, what it does is it set up a view that if you fall into certain categories of people or you live in particular locations, then we start from the premise that we can assume that you don't necessarily care for your children well, that you don't necessarily ensure that they go to school, that you're not seriously looking for paid work right now, that you haven't made a real effort to improve your own education, or that you are wasting your money on things like alcohol and gambling, or that you have chosen a life on welfare. These are the stereotype positions that underpin the policy discussions. You might have, some of you heard, for example, prior to the Prime Minister's speech yesterday evening, we know that the Leader of the Opposition, Mr Tony Abbott, and the Shadow Treasurer, Joe Hockey, also have expressed their views about what kind of, in quotes, welfare reform we should see in Australia. We've got political consensus right now that income management should not only be supported but be extended across the country. So Mr Abbott has announced that if the coalition government is elected, then irrespective of what might be the outcomes of the evaluation of income management in the Northern Territory, which won't be completed until the end of this year, the coalition's of the view that income management should definitely be extended right across the country. So I think it's really important for us, of course, and many of us in the room have a very, very good understanding of this, and we will hear from Elaine and others who talk about the experience of living on social security and what that is like. I want to particularly highlight, because the person who is on unemployment payments, the New Start allowance, that person's the topic of a lot of discussion right now. And to just pause for a moment to make sure that right across the country, everybody is very clear about what that life is actually like. So the New Start allowance means that you will receive in your hand a maximum of $34 per day to live on, to meet all of your expenses. You may get up to $50 to assist with your rent, but that is the total amount of money that you have to live on. That's a payment that has not been increased in real terms for over 2 decades, and it is a payment that there is no question that if you're living on it, you are living in poverty.